there's an energy here, it's something that you're gonna want to be around. And that's a Kansas City sound. And it definitely started with a lot of the great jazz musicians that came through here. And throughout the whole world, this was a melting pot for jazz music. So I think that those spirits and those energies that lived then are still prominent now.
Kansas City was a railroad hub. If you were traveling from east to west, north to south, you came through Kansas City. And it was the first stop out of the deep south, and there was Jim Crow, but nothing like what's happening down south. And so you had a lot of African Americans coming here from all over the Midwest, places like Lexington, Missouri, and from the southwestern territories. Since they faced segregation, they formed their own community at 18th and Vine, centered around 18th and Vine, which was the heart and soul of the African American community. So there was a home for these migrants. And Count Basie said he'd never seen anything like 18th and Vine, and he had been to Harlem.
This building that we're sitting in right now is the longest continuously operating jazz house in the world, period. You do the research, you tell me you find something else, I'd be happy to take a pilgrimage there and, But as far as a building being used for its original intention, when it comes to the music, this is it. My family has been in this 18th Vine area probably since the 30s. We had a restaurant down here called Cosmos. We've always been involved in the music down here. My great-grandfather pastored a church, not in this area. So it's just, pretty much ingrained, yeah. Everyone that's on this wall has some kind of relationship to Local 627 or the Mutual Musicians Foundation. When you're talking about Benny Moten, Count Basie for sure, King of Swing, Jay McShann, who's one of our local hometown heroes who really came from Oklahoma, made his home here and lived here for his whole life. His family's still here. Of course, Charlie Parker. In short, anyone who was a working musician, especially when it was still a union, was a member here.
Musical nourishment, finances, community, training. The Mutual Musicians Foundation has been a cradle for me in my, and I want to say jazz career, but it hasn't just affected me in jazz, it's affected my whole musical career. All the plethora of musicians that come out and just start jumping on stage and just start filling in, and saxophones come in, then the percussionist comes on because the guy's been swinging all night, so another drummer has to take over. That type of energy is unmatched, and it only happens here at the Musicians Foundation. Only happens here.
Oh, excuse me, I met Count Basie when I was about 14 years old. I remember when I met him, he was playing a concert out in the park, And mind you, him and my father probably hadn't seen each other for 30, 40 years, you know. My father went up to him, and I was thinking, okay, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna get to meet Count Basie. My father went up to him, and he wouldn't put his forehead right up against Count Basie's. He said, "How you doing, Lee?" And then Count Basie said, "How you doing, Lee?" And then both of them said, "Ugly." And they started cracking up. And I was like, ugh. You know, as a kid, I was embarrassed in front of my friends. But my dad and Count Basie, it was like, maybe it was a bit they used to do years ago, but it cracked me. I mean, I think of that, I think of the way that those old guys just were with each other. I just love this stuff.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the host for this evening, Mr. Lonnie McFadden!
A song that they used to play back in the big band era, back in those days. And I'm gonna do it the way they did it. Then I'm gonna show you what Charlie Parker did with it. Somewhere there's music, how faint the tune. Somewhere there's heaven, how high the moon. There's no moon above when love is far away too. Until it comes true. You love me, I love you, there's heaven. It's where you are. I know there's heaven. Come near or far, the darkest night would shine if you would come to me soon. Until you will, how still my heart, how hard. Now this is what Bird did. Jazz may have been born in New Orleans, but he grew up here in Kansas City. I wanted to expose people to the history. I wanted to carry it on. I wanted to do something that's authentically Kansas City. And when you come to Kansas City, I want people to say, oh man, yeah, okay. Oh yeah, now I get it. That's what I want. Bring it! I do know that the way I play has some of that old cigar smoke, filled room, barbecue juice all over myself in it. I got some of that in me. I don't think I can even get around it, and I don't want to. I don't want to. Ornithology by Charlie Parker. Oh yeah. Thank you. Oh boy. Okay.
this particular spot has been around since I was a kid. My dad used to bring me here. Like this is where I first kind of heard some jazz music, you know, and this was like my first jam session. I came up, I tried to play Stardust in like the wrong key. For almost anybody that grew up here, like this is very meaningful as a space that you come and learn how to play.
Well, that man gives me pretty good loving, keeps me good and satisfied.
Clint asked me if I had any originals, and I was like, I mean, I write stuff, but I was like, I can, you know, and so I worked with a piano player friend of mine, and one of the first songs I wrote was the blues song that sort of reminded me of a Julia Lee song. It's called Ain't Nobody Like My Baby. And I basically sang the entire song into a recorder, and I sent it to Clint, and then he wrote everything sort of for it. And then we went back and forth when we were rehearsing it about how I wanted the intro to be, and then everything, and then the horn parts and all that stuff just kind of came together. I definitely feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. There were times where I felt like, man, I was just born in the wrong, you know, wrong era. But the fact that I have these opportunities to do stuff like that, and I wouldn't say play a character, but just like bring out that side of me. It's just, again, I just feel so humbled and blessed that I get to do this for a living. It's something that I love to do. You know, it's just in me. It's just, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky enough to have been playing this and get a chance to travel and play in different countries and different places, and like people that know the music, like, I don't know, it's like they recognize whatever it is that we do. You know, there's a certain thing to the eighth notes, and there's a certain thing to the shuffle, and I mean, we're not trying to not sound like we're from Kansas City, but like we can't really escape it. Like even Pat Metheny, you know, his music isn't like 12-bar blues all the time, you know, but it still evokes this kind of sense of like the bigness of the Midwest sky and all of this. And so you can't escape your roots, you can't escape where you're from. And like all of us that play here, like we sound like we're from Kansas City. It's the most important thing to me that I get to do. I get to participate in this brilliant history, like a very small part of it. Man, it's a deep and meaningful history.
Clint Ashlock. Voice is smooth like whiskey, soothes me to the core, makes me all warm and fuzzy, keeps me coming back for more. Treats me like a queen, just like a good man should. And when he says he loves me, well, it's more than...
Kansas City jazz has evolved. Each generation adds their own thing to it. So you have young musicians coming up that incorporate hip hop. And you have them rediscovering the brass band tradition, but revolutionizing it. Also, you're seeing all these young women coming up that were inspired by Mary Lou Williams. Kansas City's always been a home for jazz, and it always will be. It's just part of our DNA. It's like barbecue. as they say at the Mutual Musicians Foundation, the tradition jams on here in Kansas City.
I'll tell you all the reasons why. Ain't nobody like my baby. Hey. Thank you. Thank you so much.